Spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free as I continue walking on this journey. I will surrender to my greatest highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way, and every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher ground each day. And now I know that what I thought safe and sound was only habit and regret held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. And I am grateful every moment, every day.
Made it hard for me to get up. This is so peacefully perfect. Thank you. Wake up. Don't fall for it. This weather is making it hard to feel really enthusiastic for very long. Is it just me? I just want to cuddle back up a little bit. And I tend to run warm, as you know, so you all are really in trouble. So what is it that makes humanity so unique? It's not your ability to type and drive. Oh, I got to know my audience. Okay. You all don't do that. Or watch your YouTube videos and drive. That is getting to be problematic. It's a little concerning, isn't it? Keep your eyes on the road, people. Our freedom of will. Free will. I gave you a hint. Right? That we have the power to choose. And that also brings up a distinction that is helpful to remember and to cultivate against perhaps what you may have been taught, that your life is predetermined by a superhuman. Right? That God has got, it's all worked out. We're just following along. Really, in my understanding, the will of God is life itself. We're brought to life, and then we get to choose how we live it. So it's important, people talk to me still after the service a lot around, what's another word I can use instead of God? It's so loaded. It's so much baggage. It still has that connotation of. And I've taken to using the good, which we often speak about in Unity, God as the good, absolute good, right? That's a phrase that was brought forth in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, that the good has come into the world. Of course, speaking of Jesus teaching about that, but that the good is in the world among all people. So I just encourage you to do your work around, if that term limits you, find one that doesn't. You know, divine life, divine love, divine mind, source. Let it be expansive. It's been helpful for me in my expansion of understanding God as I learned it, that God is not loving. Right? God is love itself. The fullness of that harmonizing energy. We are loving. Right? And sometimes we're not so loving, right? So to take that out of the realm of that's God that sometimes is loving, no, that's us. But to recognize, and God isn't therefore not forgiving either, because that implies that there's something that God would not forgive. God is it's like, how could it forgive itself? I've done nothing wrong but tried to live through you. And if you make a mistake, just readjust. Don't live your whole life feeling you need to be punished or you're forever off course. So that God is the essence and the energy and the possibility of forgiveness itself. We decide if it gets acted upon, if we forgive, or if we believe we are worthy of forgiveness. Does that make sense? That was really helpful to me. And part of that, there is a loss there because it feels like we're taking away a personal, loving God that doesn't love me. It's so much more than that. You're included in that. The love is so complete and so full. It's more than I just love. So we have the capacity to demonstrate and express these divine attributes. We have the ability to be loving, forgiving, peaceful, etc. And that is the power of our will. We choose that, right? We can choose other things, and sometimes we do, right? To be maybe petty or resentful. No? Nobody does that? Okay. People say things like, where is God in the midst of war? How does God let that happen? That's the power of our will. God is always in the presence of war as the possibility of peace. We have to choose it. It's a powerful realization. And there's that within us, as we talked about the disciples last week that fell asleep 3 times. There's that within us that just wants someone else to do it, to be in charge, even if it's God. It's your fault. To claim our power is empowering and also intimidating, isn't it? This is up to me, how I choose to live. Do I choose to live and express the constant expansion of all that I can really fathom this source to be? Or do I live by my own will, which tends to think it knows? And it knows exactly how to do it, and it definitely knows what you should do. The power of our personal will really is about sort of protecting ourselves, and that's understandable. None of this is saying you drive the wrong way up the highway and say, "Thy will be done." No. But we recognize that there is that within us that will fool us into thinking there's always something and someone against us. That we always have to look out for me, myself, and I. And sometimes we do. I'm not saying, again, that there aren't situations that you need to be wise about and get out of, maybe. But to recognize that the will of man, as it has long been called, that personal sense of will that seeks to protect itself, will always choose itself. That's what it will always choose, even though it could choose infinite possibilities. It will say, no, I know how to do it. There's that within all of us. So it's awareness. We know that, right? It was that will we talked about last week with Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, with that final prayer. It was it was human will that went ahead and killed Jesus. What would have happened if I meant to ask you last week, what would have happened if the disciples stayed awake? What would have happened if more people said, tell us more, instead of, you are threatening us? How dare you talk like this? I still don't think the Christian message as it's known now, has been realized. It's once again got co-opted by big powers. It's exactly what he was saying. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Now we've done it in his name. Oh. But we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. So in his day, he was speaking first and foremost, most predominantly against his fellow Jewish religious officials, right? The Pharisees and the Sadducees. He called them out for their preoccupation with the outer, with the external expression of piety and perfection and cleanliness. Things that they were doing that were actually ensuring people would not enter the kingdom of God, would not recognize their own capacity. That's the hypocrisy. These are people that are supposed to be guiding us in, and they're keeping us out. And so he spoke to that. Eric Butterworth in 1979 wrote these words about that. To them, Jesus said, you are hypocrites because you actually shut the kingdom against people when you should be opening it up for more of them. He went on to say, religion became, and you could say still is, a performance, a spectacle that you witness, a ritual to observe, a performance of sorts, offering a badge of conventional respectability. When in fact the church should be a place of learning, a place of discovery and research, to feel the deep potential within each person. Many of you are here because you tried that in your churches, and they said, don't ask those questions. We don't ask those questions. Right? Well, I don't understand. Don't ask. Just believe. I love this final line from Eric. The only reason the church should exist at all is as an instrument to motivate people to stir up their own innate power to save the world. We can't. Jesus didn't do it for us. He showed us how to do it. Should I read it again? Okay. The only reason the church should exist at all is as an instrument to motivate people to stir up their own innate power to save the world. That's what I hope to be doing here. Some of you may say, oh my God, this whole year we've been talking about these 12 powers. I've never taught them. I've been here for 20 years, and I have felt the same way talking about the 12 powers. But they're practical. And we kind of only understand them at this top level. Like, oh yeah, I chose what to wear today. I chose to come here today. I chose what kind of car I drive. I chose my partner. That's all great. And what else? are you choosing to stir up that innate potential within you that the outer does nothing for? Hopefully it reflects it, but it is not the cause of it. It will long perish, right? Cars rust, our bodies fade. This is the thought that I had. Oh boy, here I go off script. Ready? You know, we've been taught, and I'm getting there, but we've been taught that heaven is this place to go, right? And I think most of us resonate with an idea that there is an energy of us, the spirit of us, that while our body may stop and will, that energy can't stop. It's energy. And so it returns to the fullness of the source from which it came, yes? We don't know exactly what that'll be. Some people say light. Some people feel just profound love, those near-death experiences. Why would we wait until we are not in our body to demonstrate the depth of that energy? That's what it means to know heaven on earth. It's not, it might be a place, I don't even care. I would like to have some of it now. And I know we have experienced, when we talk about heaven and hell and unity, we're talking about levels of consciousness. We've experienced hell, haven't we? When we feel alone, when we feel disconnected, when we feel misunderstood. It's not a place. I don't believe it's a place. I believe it's an experience that we have when we don't know the truth of who we are and we seek it and it ends up empty. Okay, now how do I get back in this, you say? So I want to remind you, too, that it was against this backdrop, this is the ark, here it comes, that Jesus offered the Lord's Prayer. His disciples said, teach us how to pray. Now, these were people that were going to synagogue, that were listening to all that huff and fluff all the time. But it wasn't, they wanted him who they had learned so much from and who spoke to them in ways that they could understand. Teach us how to do that. So it was a how to, not a what to. Now, how many of us for how many years recited the Lord's Prayer? Forever and ever. Did it gravitate you to a deeper connection with God? Most people say no. It was comfortable. It was familiar. It held something there. But it was also like, what? So I want to break it down just a tiny bit. First of all, he speaks directly to, don't stop standing in the street letting everyone know how religious you are and how pious you are. Get in your own house, get still with yourself, because that's where you really meet the road. With all the stuff going on in you. And seek to know something beyond that. Connect with that. It's available to you. And then, what's the thing, what is the ask? If there is an ask of the Lord's Prayer, what was it asking for? Anyone remember? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. There it is again. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Jesus definitely located the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, when he said in Luke 17, verses 20 and 21, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation, neither shall they say, lo here, lo there, for the kingdom of God is where? Within you. Boy, you say, oh, is there room for a kingdom in there? So if the kingdom of God is within us, why are we asking for the kingdom to come? The kingdom to come. We've got to be aware of it. We've got to connect with it. We've got to believe it. Charles Fillmore said, in order to find this kingdom, one must become conscious of divine mind and its realm of divine ideas and possibilities. To be willing to adjust our thoughts to the divine standard that is not limited. Metaphysically, the kingdom within is the realm in our consciousness where we know and understand the divine. We have to spend some time there. We have to believe that part of us as much as we believe all the other parts that say, na 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 na. The kingdom of heaven, metaphysically, is a state of consciousness in which the soul and the body are in harmony with divine mind, with our divine essence, our divine purpose. He often used these examples of seeds, right? So when he was teaching the kingdom of heavens, which is a huge concept, he used various conditions in earth to explain them in terms that people could understand and grasp. Like a mustard seed, like yeast in bread. Linda Martella-Whitsett says that heaven is translated from the Greek word orenos, which translates as expanding. There is that within us that is expanding, and it's in our consciousness. It's in our awareness. We have to be willing, though, right? To not think, oh, I know it. I know all there is. I've been alive for 70 years. Done. This is it right here. Do this and do that. Don't do that. The impetus of life is always towards expansion, always towards growth. It's a dynamic growth potential that we all have within us is the source. And it is that source of divine discontentment, I believe, when we don't attend to it, when we don't believe it, when we don't cultivate it. I'll conclude with Eric Butterworth's conclusion. When shall the kingdom come? In one of the apocryphal books of the New Testament, meaning the ones that didn't get voted in, the disciples asked Jesus, when shall the kingdom come? And he utters one of the most startling statements that have had any relevance. And so he kind of tells you, he tells you where they come from, but I'm not going to go into this. Some are considered authentic, some are not. So they're not clear about the source. But what he says is, when shall the kingdom come, he answered? When the without shall become as the within. When what we exude and what we live is a reflection of this capacity within us, this divine capacity within us, this knowing. Most of us, many of us, don't fully even believe it about ourselves, do we? The world will forever have us doubt it, which is why we're seeing so much of what we're seeing. When we begin to live, and yes, to, I don't want to say demand, because that'll get us in trouble, that others do the same, because others have to do it the way they do it. But it is the same truth. No matter what you call it, no matter what faith tradition or no tradition, do you believe and trust and connect with that within you that knows and continues to expand what it knows as possible? Like that unified field of possibilities is what many people kind of refer to as God. infinite possibilities, and we've only kind of dabbled in some. We're not done. Unless we believe we are. God's will, in my understanding, is toward life and growth and expansion. And that potential is within us, if we choose it. And how do we do that? Unity teaches two things. We use denials and affirmations. We begin not to deny experiences or our feelings or anything like that, but we begin to deny the power of limited thinking. Things that scare us have no power over me. If I am an expression of divine life, what am I afraid of? Now, to be sure, people don't know the truth of who they are. Some of us are just trying to figure it out, and they act out. So I'm not saying there aren't literal things that you just don't stand in a fire and say, you don't run into a bank robbery. Sometimes people think that, I'm invincible. Well, how's that working? You're still in a physical body, and you're still working with people that don't know the truth of them and that misuse other people. But even within that, where's God in that? When terrible things happen, even within that, there's a potential for someone to know the truth, to choose something different, to say, I'm thinking of doing horrible things, help me. There's always a choice. So we begin by noticing the ways that we have these habitual limiting thoughts, and then we replace those with thoughts and with statements of higher truth. I'm an expression of divine life. That's the truth of me if I'm having an illness. I'm an expression of divine love. That's the truth of me if I am not able to get through something with someone and I'm feeling everything but love. Deny the limitation, power in our consciousness, and affirm a higher truth, an expansive truth. And then begin to live from that higher and higher expression of truth. And we do this often and most assuredly through times of prayer and connection, which I will lead you in now. To connect inwardly as we have been taught, to go inward, to get quiet, to listen. So I invite you to take a breath now. Get comfortable in your chair. I'll ring the singing bowl that invites us from our head to our heart. As we let this potential, this powerful potential that we are, be known to us. Our heart space, right? That what we know in our head moves into understanding through the power of our heart, the intelligence of love itself that is forever seeking to harmonize and unify all things together for good. All things that happen may not be good, they're not, but good is always possible. And in finding that good, we are strengthened. We are renewed. So just taking a breath, breathing into your heart space and connecting with this idea that your very life, your very existence is an expression of divine life that wills to live through you in all ways. Feel the power of that. Do you believe that? Can you choose that today as the highest truth? That right here, right now, no matter what you've done or not done, the power of life itself is seeking to renew you, expand you, guide you, strengthen you, heal you. All we have to do is let it be. And there's that within us that resists or that thinks it knows. It can't be. That can't be that easy. I say it can. And that's where our willingness versus willfulness is so powerful. Am I willing? Am I willing to let that truth have its way in me, in all aspects of my life? I don't need to know it of myself. I can listen. I can have those waves of inspiration that I know don't come from me, but I receive them. They speak my language. So what is it that's making its way through your life, through your consciousness, to expand your understanding of the power that you are? To trust that and to move with that. What a gift. What a gift to say, I have the power to choose. Starting with who and what I even think I am. To believe that. To live that. And to release anything that would limit that. Habitual thoughts, habitual behaviors. Can release them. That the truth of your being be known more fully. So the choice is ours. I invite us all to choose heaven, that expansion of our consciousness beyond our own limitations, beyond what we can fathom, to open up to infinite possibilities. That is the stirring from which we will save the world, starting with ourselves. So am I willing? Am I willing to see more fully, to feel more fully, to live more fully? That's the choice. And whatever we choose becomes our reality. So let us choose wisely.
I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today.
invite you to bring your attention back to this time and space if you haven't already. I want to give you an update on our Greater Expansion Matching Fund total. Can you give me a drum roll, Drew? Oh, I love a good drum roll. And the slide, there we go. Our current amount is $18,336. So there's information in your bulletin about how you can give to that fund above what you normally give, which will be matched dollar for dollar. Opportunity for us to raise an additional $60,000 with which to, boy, my mind just went completely blank. Jim, what are you doing? He's back there flying like an eagle. You fly, okay, yes. To ensure our extended programming, another staff member to work on that, to offer expanded opportunities for engagement. That's what I'm trying to get at. Expanded opportunities for engagement. So thanks to those of you who've already given to that, and you can learn about how you can do that in your bulletin. Also in your insert is a QR code to give to that fund or to the general fund on the back electronically if you'd like to know how to do that. There are also baskets in the back for cash and check. So thank you for what you give here, which makes it possible for everything that we do at Unity Spiritual Center Denver. So let's bless our love offerings together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. I am thankful. Take it away, Stephanie.
Because you never know where life is gonna take you, and you can't change where you've been. But today, I have the opportunity to choose. Here I am now looking at 50, and I got so much to say. I gotta get this off my chest, I gotta let it go today. I was always too concerned about what everybody would think. But I can't live for everybody, I gotta live my life for me. I've reached a fork in the road of my life. Ain't nothing gonna happen unless I decide and I choose to be the best that I can be. I choose to be authentic in everything I do. My past don't dictate who I am. I choose. I'd have been through some painful things. I thought that I would never make it through.